Hey, welcome to Illustrated Hobbies today. This is going to be a whole playlist. It's going to be quite a few videos on how I stained this guitar. Not really assembly. I didn't do too much assembly. The pickup I bought loaded from The pickup I bought loaded, which means it has all of the wiring done, all of the pickups done. I got that from Kiesel Guitars. Got the tuning pegs from that. They are locking. I do enjoy those. And let's see, all the other parts I just kind of got from Amazon and other different places. My brother surprised me a couple of years ago. I've always wanted a Fender guitar, so he brought me, he actually made me the body and the neck. Neck had all of the frets, all of the inlays in it, and on the side, but it was unfinished. So he made all of that and then handed it to me and said, okay, here's your guitar. Oh boy, now I got a lot of stuff to figure out and learn. So, a lot of the different things, I got the color stain from Wudtone, and this is the Cherry Flamenco. Flamenco? I don't know how to pronounce that word. And then the neck is a vintage amber. And I really enjoy the colors, really brings it together, it's really unique. Got the strap from Guitar Center. It sounds beautiful, and I don't know if you can see, but made my own logo for it, so kind of emulates the Fender logo. And there's another video. I will post that somewhere here, so you can go take a look at that on how I did that. And yeah, take a look at all of the videos on how I stained this. I went through very detailed step-by-step. You get to watch me sand it all, stain it all, clean it all up, and it took about a month and a half. It was a lot of patience. But end result, beautiful guitar, sounds awesome. So stay tuned. Alright, so I'm taking my rag here. Got a little bit of water on here. And take the neck. What we're going to do, we're just going to wet it down a little bit and let that grain raise. Once that grain has raised, then we're going to come back with the sanding block and we're going to knock it all down. So I'm not exactly sure how much water we need to put on here, but from what I saw on another YouTube channel, we're just putting a little bit on there, getting that top just a little bit wet. We're not going to soak the wood at all. We're just wanting to get all the pieces just a little bit wet. Yeah, I can already start feeling the grain starting to rise a little bit. Was feeling nice and smooth. Now this is just starting to rough it up just a little bit here. Now we'll let that dry for a little bit. We'll get the rag wet again. Then we'll do the body. Alright, there's the rag again. Now here's the body. Now this body is a alder body. The neck is maple. You can hear that at all. Sounds really nice and flat. And then putting this water on, you can hear how much more rough it is. So like I said, just a quick rundown with the water. We're not trying to soak it at all. Now this was already previously sanded by the factory. I have no clue what they sanded it to. And yes, it's true, most shops will tell you what they sand it to and everything, but I got this secondhand from someone, and they just know it came off the assembly line. They don't know much about it. Okay. Okay, so that looks just about done. Got all of that water. You can really feel it back here. Alright, so we'll let that dry. As I said, about a half an hour. And while that's going, show you guys my little drying stand that I have sitting here. So what I did here, got just a 1x2, clamped it to the bookcase, got a string, so come on over, found an old nail that I was able to put in, and made a couple of knots that goes around each side. And then that way, these are free hanging. I don't have any of the strings touching the guitar at all. It's just going through the bolt holes. So we'll let that dry and then we'll go to the next step. Alright, it's been about a half an hour. So now I printed off the Wudtone instructions for the neck. Let me go through what I have set up here. So I got on a BYO guitar and bought the Wudtone neck finishing kit and the body kit. Now the neck finishing kit, I got vintage amber with gloss coat, top coat. What came in the kit is 2 gloves and the coloring, the dye, stain. And they also want you, or they also suggest that you get a 1/2 inch soft hair brush. It's recommended for use with application onto the fingerboard as it helps to get to get the finish right up to the edge of the frets. Now, I stopped off at my local Home Depot store and I didn't find a 1/2 inch soft bristle, but what they had was this Maestro stencil brush kit, which has a 3/4 inch and a 3/8. I think the 3/8 is going to be a little better because I can get right in between these higher frets. So that's what I got. And then the finish for the guitar, it actually has 4 stages here. Now this is the Cherry Flamenco. Flamenco. So we got the first deep color coat, the second base color coat, and the third base color coat, and the extra gloss, no aging. I'm really hoping I'm going to like this. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I kind of enjoy the satin finish, but I don't know. This is my first guitar I've ever done, so I really don't know what the difference between satin and gloss in a wood tone is. Okay, so we've let this finish. If you can hear that at all, sounds very rough, especially right here. It's definitely not as smooth as it was, so I think we're going in the right direction. So, guitar neck preparation. We're going to follow the instructions here. Prepare bare wood, fine sanded, 250 grit / 400 grit. I think that means we're going to do 250 grit first, and then we're going to go over with 400 grit and fine steel wool ready for finish. Don't use any kind of fill or primer, as the finish itself will help do that for you during application, but it will also leave the wood able to age, breathe, and develop nice patina naturally. I had to Google patina. Patina, I forgot what it meant, but it was the natural resonance of the guitar, and as it ages, it helps the tone more. So try to work in a dust-free environment. I'm down here in my office, as you can see. And then talks about the 1/2-inch brush. So what I got, what did I do with that box? Oh, there it is. So couldn't find exactly 250 grit, but I got 220 grit. Should be plenty fine. I got the one with a little foam, just in case I go over any contours. It has a little bit of give. Then I'm not sanding down the wood. I'm just following the contour. So what I'm going to do, just nice and soft, go across it, try to go with the grain as much as possible. Alrighty, that's starting to feel a lot smooth. Still a little bit in there. One thing I wanted to show you guys, sand a little bit to try it here, but you can see just that dark little spot. My first attempt hanging this up on the hook here, I accidentally moved it, it fell down, and hit the edge of my guitar amp. So luckily I did that before I prepped it. So now I'm just going to go a little bit more, try to sand out that dark spot. Now I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure here, just trying to get it nice and smooth. I'll try to go with the contour of the neck here. You can definitely hear in the sanding how it's getting smooth. Try to keep it nice and flat because we don't want to round any of the corners. We just want to knock off the high points of the grain that the water brought up. Now, I'm not too worried about all of the fine details. because I bought a nice sandpaper instead of a block so we can get all of those crevices. Okay. Now, at the store I couldn't find any 400 grit. I found 320, so I figure I can try that. And while I was out in the garage earlier, I found some actual 400. Now this is automotive sandpapers, wet or dry. We're obviously not going to use the wet, or yeah, the wet version. There we go, that's a lot smoother. So, now I'm a little confused by these instructions because some of the things I've read is you don't want to fine sand it, because if it's too fine sanded, then the stain and the oil won't penetrate the wood as well. So I don't think I'm going to use the 400 grit, just because I still want it a little bit rough. Alright, good with that. Now what I want to do is use my... I did cut a little tiny strip off of this 400. What I did, just got a box cutter, cut as close as I wanted to right there, try to keep it nice and straight. So we'll use this, and we'll get these frets, trying not to mess up the finish. As I go along here, and sitting here looking at the fret as it touches, and it looks like the ones down here, I missed it a little bit with this strip of sandpaper. So we'll put it right along the fret, apply pressure into the corner, and then just pull it to the side. Yeah, that's looking a lot better now. Alright, where did I... Oh yeah, you can definitely tell where I stopped and finished. This probably would have been a lot easier if I didn't have these frets already in place. The way it came to me, frets were already there. I don't know how to remove the frets, so they're just going to stay in there. Went and spoke to a local guy here that actually builds guitars, repairs them, does a whole bunch of stuff. And I was like, hey, how hard is it to apply this stain over the frets? Do I just put it over there and scratch it off with a fingernail or what? He told me that Fender, the way they originally did it was they just sprayed it, and then they had this little special tool that was shaped just for the fret, and they just peeled it right off. So Fender originally scraped it off, and the theory is the older Fender guitars are a lot more better, the vintage style, sound a lot more just overall better than these new tones, or than these new ones. And might be because of that, might be because of other things. I want to see if we can show this. I can see it a little bit, but you can see the discoloration, how that's just a little bit darker than this spot where I haven't sanded yet. So let's see if we can hear. So it's definitely getting easy to see where I haven't done. And if you're keeping track at home, please don't tell me that I did a fret more than once. A little bit. I have no clue how to shape that or anything, so I'm going to take that to a local guy and have him professionally set this all up for me. Okay. I do not want to be idly sitting there with my guitar in my hands and running my finger over all of these curves, seeing if I missed any places. Alright, neck of the headstock feels good. All the sides feel good. Fretboard feels good. See a little bit of places that I may have missed. Trying to shine it in the light for myself and see if I can find these areas. Okay, now I have a nice little can of air. I'm going to go outside and dust this off. Then we're going to do the body. Alright, now for the body. And I want a sanding block. Here is where I red tag guitar body. Check with your wood supplier that no scalers or other products have been put on the body, as these will inhibit the initial coats. I already checked that. Prepare clean bare wood, sanded, clean 250 grit. This is 220. Is fine enough at this stage, ready for finish. Make sure that any scratches are fully sanded out, as these will He highlighted with the first stained base coat. It's a good idea to wear gloves to avoid any kind of hand oil creams getting onto the woods while sanding or handling the wood. That is a very good idea. I'm going to risk it. I've made sure to wash my hands quite a few times. And I am of the mind that I can feel the smoothness of the wood a lot better with my bare hands than with gloves on. So remember, we're not putting a lot of pressure on here, just going across, knocking all of the high spots down. Yeah, let's see if we can show you guys what I'm looking at here. Focus camera. There we go. See all that little bit of burning? Let's go spray this off and we'll put on the first color. Just wanted to sit and show you using a lint-free cloth. That is all of the stuff I got off. Just cleaning off all the sand. Okay, I am super nervous now. So, here's the lint-free rags that I got, made with natural fiber, lint-free and super absorbent. I don't like how it says super absorbent. I'm staining, not cleaning. But this is what they tell me I need. So, what I saw, I'm trying to figure this out. What you want to do is want to try to get a nice kind of little ball going here. Just like that. No creases that you're applying this with. Just a nice little ball. Now let's read the instructions. Give a color coat a real good shake and then pour only a small quantity. Into a separate bottle screw cap or something you can dip the rag into. Voila. With a 4-inch square piece of lint-free cloth, carefully rack the color coat onto all areas of the neck. Use brush to help get up to the edges of the frets, so it doesn't sound like we're putting it on the frets. Always finish stroking along the grain and make sure there's no excess or runs. The first coat will soak in most and add the most color. Leave this to dry at least 24 hours and give the neck a light rub with steel wool. That's tomorrow. We'll do that tomorrow. Alright. I gotta poke this now. There we go. Okay. So it says just dip a little bit. Always put the cap on in case something happens. Now, okay. Carefully rag the color coat on all areas of the neck. Use brush to help get up to the edges. Alright. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the back first. So you can see, toss that in there, and this rag is soaking it up a lot. Okay, tint coat. I had to make sure with that because the other one is the top coat. Okay, good. Okay. Wow, that soaks up a lot. Might need a little more. 2 to 3 thin coats is what I'm going to be doing. Okay. Now I wanted to see how far I needed to go right here. Looks like I wanted to go about right there. Make sure we get this end. Get the sides here. Alright. Flip this around. Get right there. Okay, looks like I got all there. Now let's get the front. I might only be doing 2 coats. This is soaking up a lot more than I hoped. The cloth is soaking up more than I hoped. Guess it won't matter if I get anything on the frets. I'll clean them off anyway. Right. Now, let's get this. Try to get a right up next to the frets. A little bit more. Okay. Now we've got all of that. Remember, we don't want to leave any excess. So I'm going against one side of the frets, and then we're going on the other side, trying to make sure we wipe off as much as we can. Okay, where was this? Right there. Yep, see, gun. Just a little bit more. Guess I'll use my fingernail to make sure there's nothing pooling up against the frets here. Okay. Now, clean that off in there. Ooh, look at that. Glad I checked. Had a whole bunch pooling right here. Okay. Now, I think that is step one done. First coat will soak in and add the most color. Leave this to dry at least 24 hours and give the neck a light rub with fine steel wool. Sitting here looking at this, and it's really dark right here around these corners. Man, that soaked up a lot of color though. I don't see too much color here. I wonder if I put any more, if I put the rest on that I have here. No, looks like that is as much as it's going to soak up. Okay. Let's hang it up to dry. Now we'll get ready for the red. Okay. So now this is the cherry flamenco. And I'm a little confused by the instructions because we have the generic instructions to achieve a deeper intensity of color. Some of the kits, and I crossed out everything that does not apply to the specific cherry. So it includes a deep color coat and a base coat. If your kit includes a deep color coat, use this first coat onto a bare wood, as this is essential to achieve a deep tint. Well, I have a first deep color coat, second base color coat, and a third base color coat, and then the top coat. So this talks about Give the deep color coat a really good shake. Pour just a small quantity, no more than a quarter of the bottle, onto something clean like an old jar lid. You can easily dip your rag into, then rag the coating onto all surfaces. The deep color coat is relatively thin as it contains more dye, and so when applied it will soak into the bare porous wood and color. Keep going over the body 2 to 3 times, circling and ragging in with some pressure to achieve an even spread of deep color. After going round 2 to 3 times, it will seem the wood is unable to soak up any more finish. Finish by stroking along the grain, making sure there is no excess anywhere. Leave to dry for 24 hours. After applying the high-intensity stain coat, follow instructions below for the next base coat. Please note base coats also include tints, so we'll continue to even and enrich the color. Then we have the base coat. Then we have specifics for each thing. Here we go. Cherry. This kit has a first deep color coat, 1 to 2 coats, second base coat of 2 to 3, and a third base coat of 1 to 3 coats. So, does that mean I do 2 to 3 times around this? 2 to 3 times? No, that's only 2 to 3 times. So I do that twice. Let's go with that, I guess. Well, I guess I want to use as much color as there is. So let's try that. I'm going to try something a little bit different with this lint-free rag. I'm going to put it around my 2 fingers, wrap it up around the back, just like that. That way that stain has nowhere to go except right there, and it's not going to soak up the whole entire thing. Okay. So give the deep color coat a really good shake. I think I did that off camera, but this is for verification. Okay. Preparing wood. Lost my place. There we go. Pour a small quantity, no more than a quarter of the bottle. Okay. There we go. This is first deep color coat. Okay. I want to make sure we're doing this right. All right. Let's see. Going over the body 2 to 3 times. Can't remember where, but I read going in nice circles, and then the end you want to go in nice long streaks. I was watching one video where this guy, I don't know if he put too much on at once, but he wasn't paying attention here, and he got a little blob there, and it just got really dark. So I'm going to try to avoid that. Looks like everything I'm putting down, this is just soaking right up. Hmm. So what do we think so far? Now let's get this top area. Man, this is one dark red. Compare it to the Gibson SGs, you know, those nice dark red ones. Hoping this will turn out just a little bit lighter, or I can see the grain just a little bit. Man, these ends are just soaking up that stain. Oops. Bear with me for a moment here. Here you can see how I'm just wiping it on, and it's just soaking it up. Okay, we'll come back and get that in a little bit. Looks like we'll pour some more in here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get two. I'm already running out there. What the heck was that? Okay. So we can kind of see there's a lot of stain getting stuck on the top of my fingers here. So we'll try to make sure that we are getting everything out of the rag as possible. Try to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Looks like, alright. Alright, look at that. We got one coat all done. So now the question is, do I keep going with my second coat? Because it says the first one, do 2 to 3. Keep going over the body 2 to 3 times. Because this is going to get it the deepest coat, or the deepest color. Which is what we want. Hopefully the second time won't require as much. Oh no, I'm able to spread this a lot more. Still soaking up pretty good here. Starting to look more like a finished guitar though. It's amazing what one more coat will do. Man, this is just like a blood red. It is dark. See if we can show you the difference in sheen. You can see on the bottom towards me how it's just a little bit less sheen. That extra coat of it definitely adding to it. Alright. Go with the grain. Try to rub it in here. Alright. Let's take a look on top. See how we're looking here. Take a look at the back. Still got a little few light areas. Putting that stain on is just covering them up nice. Okay. We'll let that set just a little bit while I work on this front. Now I'm not too worried about getting stain on the inside here. I plan on copper taping that whole entire area up. Yeah, the spot where it's going to get covered by pickguard, let's really make sure we get that nice and covered. And you can see these areas that they're just a little bit lighter. Okay. So that is 2. Now, deep color coat. Keep going over 2 to 3 times. Let dry 24 hours. After going around, it'll seem as unable to soak up any more finish. So keep going. 2 to 3. Keep going over. Let's see. It contains more dye. Keep going 2 to 3 times. Deep coat 1 to 2. Alright, so let's see if it's soaking anything up more. Nope. So we're going to do 3 coats. And then I will sit and ponder for one more day on whether I'm going to do another coat of this deep color. Oh yeah, there we go. It's not. It's still soaking it up, but it's having a little bit of trouble. How much of the bottle we have? Probably maybe half. So yeah, I might do another one tomorrow. Because I am going to sand, or I do have to sand this down a little bit. So that'll change it a bit. Yeah, it looks like I'm just spreading water around it now. Don't get me wrong, it's still soaking it up, but it's not soaking it up like it was before. I need just more of that stuff, man. You can see what they mean by going nice long streaks along the grain. That definitely smooths it out, gets rid of these swirl marks. Okay, just a little bit left. Get these edges. Okay. Now I want to go around, make sure I don't have any buildup just sitting there. So I really don't want a dark spot tomorrow. All right. So I'll bring that around. And you can see it. There's a little bit of a sheen. Wonder if that might tack up tomorrow. But it looks like we got a little bit of a dark spot. There we go. Dark spot there. What is that? Blotchiness? Edges are very dark. And the front as well. You can see, there we go. Right there. But I'm starting to think that's just adding to the natural beauty of wood. Okay, now I have a little heater sitting on here, and it'll sit here all night long. Now I need to fix that.